Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. Before we start it off, we do have some updates for the podcast. The latest episode of Marvel Talk is now out. Go cop that wherever you listen to. Talk about some minor news that's been sprinkled throughout. You know, it's still slow with all this nonsense coming out here with the COVID. Over here on the main show, we're going to be having a new segment coming. It's going to be mainly about webtoons, right? If you don't know, those are webcomics like Tower of God that we've talked about before, but also with Lookism and God of High School. I guess you could say the big three right now over on Webtoon, at least for us, because there's some other series there that I'm like, nobody cares. But yeah, so we're going to be doing like every other week, we'll be dropping an episode where we'll be talking about the latest chapters of Lookism, and then we're going to be going through God of High School, and we'll be talking about arcs until we're pretty much just caught up on that series. And that should be starting hopefully this week, if not next week. On our end, Jerry over here, slowly coming back into the streaming life, big gamer status, hopping back on the surge.
Yes, sir. It's been a minute, but your boy back with it. Wow. Forget I said that.
Hey, dude, that rhymed though. That was pretty fresh. Do you want to spit a 16 as well? I mean, we can give you some time for it, dude.
I've been trying to get back into it because I'm trying to fucking beat the game. Yeah, man, because it's such a bitch to beat. But to like get this one point, I've been having an easier time. But yeah, dude, you can see me at twitch.tv/JerryOmega.
Yeah, so yeah, you restarted it, but I re-downloaded it, and I was like, let me just go off the save point I have, and I was like, oh, Jesus, man, this is...
Yeah, man, I tried doing that again, like, off stream, and I'm like, I have no idea where to go, and I'm dying. So I might as well just, like, I don't know, catch up to that point, and then we'll see where I'm at.
Yeah, because I gotta look up what to do, because it's like, I don't remember where to go. Oh, I mean, I know where to go, but it's like, I don't know where that is on this map at all.
I did that a few times with, like, NPC stuff, but, like, for the most part, I'm just kind of exploring.
So again, that's twitch.tv/JerryOmega.
Yes, sir.
That's GERRY Omega.
Come through.
Yeah, there's no A.
Watch me rage. laugh at my mistakes.
So yeah, that's pretty much all the updates right now coming on here for the podcast. And without further ado, man, let's go ahead and hop in to the episode. We got an email from the boy Mark, as always. Thank you, appreciate it.
Gang, gang.
That's unversepodcast@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and get with his question here. He says, what was a game you played before that really felt unnecessarily long and wish it was shorter? There's a lot of games like that, I think.
Dude, Metal Gear Solid 4 for sure.
I might get some heat for this, but Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah, you damn straight you're getting heat for that. That was perfect.
Dude, it was a great game, dude. I felt like it dragged a little bit too long. Like I feel like certain parts could have like been intertwined with each other.
Sidebars, there is a game that kind of reminds me of that. It's a beta on Steam. I think it's called Ghost Runner, and it's pretty much what I wanted Rising to be, just a run and slash, literally like nonstop running and slashing everything. You know what I mean?
Thank you for reminding me. I do need to follow that.
Yeah, Rising has had its parts.
I mean, overall, the game was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I love the game. The music is great. The story is pretty solid. It just, some parts I feel it was kind of like, okay, let's move on. You know,
Persona 5 if you're trying to play a video game, but if you're trying to watch an anime, it's perfect.
Yeah, no, that's an experience. Yeah. That's not a game.
I think the other one that comes to mind is Resident Evil 5. I don't know if you guys have played 5, but it just, there's a certain point where it starts kind of deviating from what you assume to be the main storyline. And you're just kind of like, okay, now where are we going? Okay, now Wesker's a part of this story. Like, okay, we were in Africa, bumfuck nowhere. Like, how does this come into play? You know, so it felt like a really big drag on.
I just played the Africa part, and then I just stopped at that game.
Yeah, and then, you know, when you get to the last area of the entire game where you somehow are in a volcano and you have to punch a boulder, and it's a whole Michael Bay movie, it's like, okay, like, how did we really get here, you know? So Resident Evil 5 definitely is one of the
Chris punch a boulder Redfield, bro.
I still haven't finished 6, but I would assume it might have the same kind of feeling.
Yeah, for me, I think Sony's great. You know, PlayStation games are great, but sometimes the main IPs like God of War 2 and 3 and the Uncharted series, I think they're great, but sometimes just those in between moments of like game content where I'm like, this just feels too long. You know, I remember specifically in God of War 2 where you have to go to the giant horse statues and you have to run across the chains on them. And it's like for this puzzle, and then you got to run back. And I'm like, why are we doing this? It's like so much time gone. I remember when I was going through the Uncharted trilogy, I don't know if you felt this, Jerry, but like just going through areas and I'm like, God, this feels like forever. And then you see like the chapter number and I'm like, oh, I'm not even close to being done with this game.
Man, they all felt that way.
Yeah.
When I got onto like 2, everything from then on felt like, man, when am I done with this one? When can I move on to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
But that's my fault, because I just, I fucking went straight deep into that shit. Face first.
No, yeah, same. I played them all back to back pretty much. And yeah, even like Lost Legacy, you know, the standalone game.
It gets old.
It has that feeling too, especially because there's a segment in that game where you have to pop out your map, go to specific locations, so you're going through this large area. You know, it's like, it's just...
Yeah, you're going back and forth places and shit.
Yeah, it's just too much. I was like, I mean, I get it. It's like, I don't know.
I think, I never played Borderlands 1 or 3 or the third one, but the second one, I think it was too long. I like shooting things with guns and making them explode. I don't know, man. Story-wise, there was a point where... I don't know, man. I just thought the game ended, but I was still going. And I'm like, oh, it's good, but these are the kind of games that are like, all right, when can I stop playing?
Yeah,
it's at that point it becomes a chore, you know.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like the game where I'm like the story could have been shorter. It's just what you're doing. Like I love Nioh 2, you know, for what it is, but I think some of those main missions, it's just too big. You know, if you cut it down like 20%, it would be perfect for those levels.
Right, or if you make it like a side mission, you make it optional, but you keep the content of the original game pretty solid, then, I mean, you can always go back and do those side missions, which is what I love about a lot of different games, like Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, really solid, but a lot of those things are optional, so it doesn't take away from the main storyline. But I feel like there's just certain games that just, they incorporate into the main plot, and it's like, well, it's a little unnecessary. It drags on to a certain point where it's like, I don't even want to do this anymore.
Yeah. So that's all it is for me. I think, at least story-wise, I can't think of a game where, like, the story could have been shortened, but it's just all that extra gameplay, quote-unquote. Mark also out here decides to give us some recommendations to check out during this whole quarantine stuff, so appreciate that, man. You got a couple things here. So for games, he recommends Fury. If you guys don't know, that's that indie game that was, like, free for Plus a while back.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I'm a fan. That boss rush type of game, and it's a really great game. I remember playing that.
I haven't beat it, but I got pretty far in it.
Man,
that's a good time.
I know. I remember I got stuck at one boss, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get back to this later.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a really great game, man. The music's fantastic, and all the designs are great too. Man, that game gets challenging though, because that it does the thing where if you lose, like I guess a section of your health, your opponent gains that full bar back, and it's like
it's kind of like bro, for real.
That got
the
annoying.
fact that the fact that it's a bullet hell doesn't help.
Yeah.
So it really pushes you to the limit at that point. It's like, hey, you gotta finish me in this amount of time, otherwise I'm just gonna recharge.
Yeah, because they'll have like as bosses do, they'll have like multiple health bars, stacked on top of each other. Mm-hmm. And I remember the last boss I was stuck at, they're all like little squares, so you know how many they have left. And I was on the last one for this level of bar, and then they took out mine, and then theirs filled up all the way. And I was like, God damn it, dude. Gotta go through all that again. And still great, though. I recommend it. And then he recommended, there's this show called, oh yeah, I remember this, What We Do in the Shadows by Taika Waititi. Yeah, I remember hearing about this show. Is
that vampire show?
I think it is, yeah.
So I've actually seen some clips. I walked out to the living room and saw the fam watching it. It's actually pretty funny. I don't know where I was at, show-wise, but it had some really good comedy aspects to it. The vampire thing was really, really funny. It reminded me of, and I don't know if you're there in Preacher yet, Jerry, but there's a part in season 3 of Preacher where Cassidy finds his community of vampires. It reminded me very much like that, but in a much more light aspect. So I definitely think, from what I saw, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, I put it on my list after that point.
And it's a mockumentary style show. I didn't know that.
That's cool. I like mockumentaries.
Yeah, I've been thinking of Parks and Rec, as always.
Dude, Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, dude.
Office.
So good. Office is also good too, but I'm one of those people that I would prefer Parks and
I
Rec.
resonate more with Parks and Rec.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more real life.
It's more lighthearted. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Office is more boring. The Office is a little more boring, I feel.
Yeah. And plus, man, when it gets real in Parks and Rec, man, it's
dude. It don't play, man.
And then for manga, I know you read this one before, Jerry. He recommends Tokyo Ghoul.
I watched it. I like the end fight. That was pretty good. The anime fights are always on point on that.
Mm-hmm.
The art style is good.
That's always been one of my lists. I've heard that the manga is portrayed a little bit better than the adaptation does.
Very, very edge and vor.
Ooh.
I remember the only thing I ever saw of the anime was actually the second season, I believe. A little bit after it had dropped, maybe like a year and a half ago or so, when I met up with some friends from AX, the people from that one party with the cane, for you guys to get some context.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, from what I saw in the second season, it looked pretty interesting. But again, I only read and scratched the surface of the first part.
Yeah, I've seen some of the fights and just some stuff here and there for it. It's on my list for sure to check out.
But reading it, I'm gonna have to check it out then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for me, once I find out like an anime has a manga, I'm gonna read it first. If I'm not already watching it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Danny. Like if I'm not already
what I do anymore.
If I'm not already watching it, and then I'll just fulfill the season, then I'll go and read the manga. But if I know that there's both, I'd prefer to read the manga, and then go into the anime.
Yeah, like right here, this week I saw the first episode for Rent a Girlfriend that just came out, and I remember I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool, man. It's got that Nisekoi vibes.
Hey, dude, how much she cost?
$50 a date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, too bad. Hey, Jerry, you can hop in on that. I think you can do that. I'll help you out. I'll go half with you. That way you don't feel like you lost your money,
Yeah. So I watched the first episode. It's pretty fun. It's got that humor, and it starts off with like her main character. He's just like, yeah, I got a girlfriend, and then it's like everything's looking good, man. About to start college, and she's like, oh no, yeah, we're breaking up, man. I fell in love with someone else. He's like, what the fuck? And then he gets like super depressed, and then he's like, he just looks on his phone. He's like, what's this new app? You can rent a girlfriend. He's like, fuck it, I guess I'm gonna do it. And then once we get into the feel of our main characters, it gets pretty fun. More mature in content than I thought it was. So that's
always good though.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise. But I found out this. I was like, I wonder if this has a manga. Sure enough, it does. So I'm gonna start reading that.
Do you know if it's finished or is it ongoing?
It's ongoing. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if there's a manga, I'm like, I'm gonna read it just because this is the source material. I'm pretty more than likely sure it's gonna be better.
Plus, you can burn through it way faster than having to wait episodic.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll stick to the anime when I know there's like good stuff to watch from it.
Right. That's kind of like how I am with One Piece. Like, all caught up, but if I know there's some really good fight scenes, like with Katakuri, I'm like, oh, dude, no, I need to watch this too.
Oh yeah, man. When I found out that the anime got to the Gear 4th part from Just Roast, I'm like, I gotta watch this episode, and oof, it was amazing.
Dude, not only that, but
so
the
good.
awakening with fucking Mingo.
Yeah, man. So thanks, Mark, for the email. Really appreciate it. And again, that is unversepodcast@gmail.com. All right, so let's get into this episode, man. Just real quick, I mentioned God of High School earlier. I started reading it already. I'm pretty far in. All I'm going to say for here, before we start the segment is, if you were to say what is a shonen webtoon, this is the perfect example of what you would have to expect from a shonen webtoon.
That was the vibes I got. I think I read the first 5 chapters yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I plan on reading some more today, but that's the vibe I got. Like, this is totally shonen.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to give me a definition of shonen, that's a webtoon. God of High School, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this, you could tell, because I feel like when it comes to manhwas and webtoons, it always feels like, oh yeah, these guys are really big fans of manga. and they want to put in that extra, just that extra whatever they want in there. And that's kind of what defines them, like, different wise. Like, like how ridiculous Tower can get with, like, the action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we could get out of here for God of High School. There's some cool stuff. I went I think like 70 chapters in already on my end, and yeah, I'll get more in detail when we talk about those arcs. With that in mind, the reason I started reading, I'm like, oh, I forgot the anime just dropped episode 1.
I think it was last week, right?
Yeah, it was last week. So I read some chapters first, and I was like, okay, I think this is a good enough time to stop and see what the anime is covering. If you guys listen to the Tower segment, our main problem was cut content, right?
Dude, I not to cut you off, Danny, but I heard this when it came out, and I mentioned this in our group chat, that the content that was cut was pretty extensive, dude. Like, pretty out there. And it makes me feel really bad because, for the listeners, how we felt.
It makes me not want to watch it, dude.
Right, and it shouldn't have to feel that way. It should feel like, hey, we've been waiting for this to get animated, kind of like how we felt with Tower. We should be able to see a pretty good rendition of what goes on. And just to hear already from the community, like, dude, there's so much cut out. It's like, damn, man, like that's really unfortunate. And I assume it was Crunchyroll doing this as well, just like how they did Tower, right?
Yeah, this is from Crunchyroll, right? They had that trailer a while back showing off all the webtoons that they're going to be animating, and yeah, when I was watching the episode, right off the minute 1, I was like, wow, this is already not starting off great, because it pretty much cuts out the origin story of all our main characters, like our 3 main characters from the series.
Which those are really nice. Let me tell you, when I was reading it, I was like, ooh, that's, like, especially the girl, I can't remember her name, but that was really, really cool.
I think, yeah, it's an important setup for what we're going to be getting into for this season of the anime. And just to not have it, and, I always said, like, maybe they'll add it later for Tower. I don't think they're going to do that here. Just seeing what's going on. The pacing was kind of all over the place. The first arc that they cover, it looks nice. The animation's great. It's all fluid. The fighting choreography is great. That's what I really appreciate, but it just doesn't feel like what it feels like in the webtoon at all. There's a specific fight that happens in the first episode that I was like, oh, I figured this would be its own episode, right? Episode 2 or something, but it happens so fast. The dialogue that needs to be there that makes the fight even better is not there at all.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I've seen people who haven't read it like the episode, and I think you should just read it. I wouldn't watch it, because if it feels more like, when you play like an anime game and then the cutscenes, it's like, oh, here's clips from the anime and it's all the hype stuff. Right. That's what this first episode felt like. Like you're playing some kind of Musou game, and then we transition to this lead up into the next mission, and it's just everybody fighting and all this crazy stuff. That when I watched it, I was like, this is really unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to continue watching the episodes. I'm just going to kind of just keep an eye on YouTube, see what kind of clips pop up. But yeah, I was really shocked and just disappointed in Crunchyroll for making that decision.
That is unfortunate. I can only say, not to be just a Tower fanboy, but I'm glad that Tower at least had its, pretty good shining moments.
Yeah, because Tower doesn't really have that much action in the first season, so they really couldn't do that. But I'm pretty sure if they start out with season 2, it might have been this route. So that has me even more worried for season 2 if it gets animated. Also for Noblesse too, because I think that's the next big manhwa anime that's going to come out. So I hope they don't do the same thing there.
I need to hop back on Noblesse.
So yeah, I got a High School. That's the anime is just, yeah, just don't watch it unless you want to know like the voice acting, because the voice acting I think is fine for the characters. It fits them really well. Next week, man, Haikyuu is ending over at Shonen Jump. I think it's going to be chapter 402 or 403. So another big hitter leaving Shonen Jump.
I didn't even know it was still going on this long.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I was watching, I think, Super Eye Patch Wolf's one of his videos about Shonen Jump, and he was like, yeah, this is ending soon. I was like, oh, it's still going, huh? Because I know it's still super popular in Japan. I know you always see that one group of Haikyuu cosplayers at cons out here.
Yep, they're always there.
So that's crazy, man. Another big one. Leaving Shonen Jump. I try not to bring some of this stuff up, but since all this crazy stuff has happened this month or this past month, figure, you know what, might as well talk about it real quick, man. Evo got canceled, and
Yeah, dude.
a lot of big stuff from the Smash community has also been happening.
Let's just take care of it right now, dude. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, I think Leffen has said this. It's not a bad thing for this thing to be happening to the Smash community. It's a good thing for everything that has happened. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm sure everyone knows about it by now. But just now we can grow very strongly and make a better community for everybody. Things that everybody can join in onto.
This isn't a group. This is just a select few individuals as well.
Right. Exactly. And I hope that the people that have left because of this end up finding their way back to the Smash community because they did love the game for whatever reason that they found. Obviously, we're all big Smash players. I keep very high tabs on what goes on in the Smash community because I really do care about it. But at the end of the day, I just hope that the future of it is going to be as bright as it can be. And which leads into Evo because it's unfortunate what happened. I hope that next year they do have some ideas of what to do. I still think, and I think you and I agreed on this, Danny, I still think they could have gone away with doing online tournaments for certain games, even though a lot of them had backed out. But I do believe at the end of my whole thought process, I think canceling was the better idea because of everything that's gone on in the community, like just in the FGC as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, on my end, I'm more of the opposite. I think, I'm pretty sure the main reason is because everybody was backing out, Capcom, Namco, NetherRealm, even a bunch of teams, right? And a bunch of high-end players that are the highlights of Evo decided
and a
not
lot
to
of commentators too.
That too, yeah. It's pretty crazy. And, once I had to dig into the news about it because, online news, you can never really trust it. You have to do your own research. And once I found out, I'm like, oh, this is not just a thing that happened, a few decades ago. This is a continuing, recurring problem that really changes it. So I understand their decision to say, their statement that they said. I think if they would have pulled ahead of it and kind of actually significantly talked about it during all of Evo online, I think that could have been a good route. But this is their decision, and at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, I mean, whatever they want to do, I'm sure is going to be the right decision. Anime Evo's still going, so I guess.
When is that slated for? Is that in January?
Yeah, that's a January thing. So I mean, they have time to figure out what they want to do. Yeah, I just hope they really make some smart decisions. And again, yeah, it was a really big hit, man. Because I know he's been in the community for decades, always on every stream of Evo, bringing up all the important news. So yeah, it's really crazy to see, man. And just always got to be careful out there, guys. It's
you really do, and always go with a buddy, dude. There's a real method that works with as long as you have a buddy there. The buddy method works phenomenally, and and I don't think I mentioned on the podcast, but my brother, he works for a gaming community, and I was telling them when tournaments start opening up, all your locals, you have to be aware of the things that go on and be prepared to act upon it accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, in our community out here, we have none of that, which is great, but can't say the same for everywhere else, So just be safe out there, fellas, and continue gaming because now anybody can be the best. Anybody can be number one.
Yeah, and it really extends more than just these tournaments. There's also anywhere you go like this, right? Like as much as we love the anime cons, once things start getting to a certain size, that's when more of this stuff starts happening, under the rug. I mean, look, we love ALA. I think it's a fantastic convention, but almost every year something crazy happens.
Oh, yeah.
And then, AX has its fair share as well. I mean, the perfect example was, I think it was 3 years ago now, that Phoenix Comic-Con over there. That guy wanted to assassinate Jason David Frank, and that really caused this whole increase in security throughout the country. So,
well, not only that, I think you remember at AX, I can't remember how long ago it was, there was some guy walking around with a katana.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was during the time of AX, so it already put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It's just be safe out there anywhere you go with large gatherings of people. Once large gatherings are, kosher to go and attend, always go with friends.
Yeah, that's important as well. figure, you know, I don't like to bring that kind of stuff up, but this hits close to home for us, so you know, I got to bring it up. Crazy times, man. 2020 just doesn't want to give anybody a break, man. Goddamn.
Just let us have our fun, man. Let us have our hentai, our games, our animes, and just enjoy.
Let's just keep going on to the episode here. This just popped up on a YouTube ad that I saw, and then I decided to watch the full trailer because I was like, oh, I think this is going to be a good movie. HBO Max dropping a new movie soon with Seth Rogen. It's called An American Pickle.
I heard about that on his Twitter, but I haven't looked into it at all.
So I was like, okay, I thought it was going to be, I mean, there's going to be comedy, right, because it's Seth Rogen. But I thought it was going to be some kind of like an era piece, because it starts off with him. He's an immigrant in America with his wife, and he runs a pickle company. You know, he's married. I think they just started, and he told his wife, like, don't worry, you know, 100 years from now, you know, our family will be, you know, very prosperous and wealthy kind of thing, because he's like, my business is going to boom. He accidentally falls into one of the vats for the pickles, and it gets sealed up, and then 100 years later they open it, and he hasn't aged a day because like the pickle juice preserved him.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and so he's wandering around, I think, Brooklyn, and then he finds out that he sees his descendant, who is also played by Seth Rogen, and so decides to live with him. And then now, you know, he's like experiencing the world 100 years later and seeing like his son, or his, I guess, great grandson isn't who he thought his family was going to be 100 years later. And then he decides like, oh, you know, I should, you know, we should open another pickle business, you know, and it sounds like a fun time. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that when that drops.
Anything Seth Rogen, I'm down.
Yeah, but when you say pickles, I'm
I know,
man.
You freaking
dude.
Yeah, you freaking animal.
Dude, look, man, I'm not gonna get into it on the podcast. Nobody needs to know my ideals for people that eat pickles. But look, the moment you say pickles, I'm done, my guy. That ain't for me. That ain't it, Chief.
You should check out the trailer though. It looks like a good one. And then speaking of trailers, man, there was another one for this movie, The Tax Collector. Man, this looks like a good one too. It's got our boy Shia LaBeouf in it. Did you guys check out the trailer for this?
No, I did not.
Is that the one he tattooed his chest for?
Yeah, so Shia LaBeouf plays he's a tax collector for these crime syndicates. I think it's Mexico or like in Los Angeles, you know, cartel stuff. And yeah, he has tattoos in the movies, and I saw an article saying, yeah, he actually got those tattoos. And I was like, no way.
Oh yeah.
And when I saw the tattoos, I'm like, no way, that can't be true.
Dude, it's Shia LaBeouf. How can you doubt that shit, dude?
Yeah. Well, because it's
like,
his,
the moment
it's his
that
whole...
came up, the first thing I'm like, his whole chest, dog, yes. So when they told me that, I'm like, I believe it.
Yeah, I just seen the tattoo, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. It's almost as crazy as Ben Affleck's back tattoo.
Okay, I gotta look that up.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, yeah, look that up. Yeah, but it looks great though. I like to see Shia, like, you know, go into these different types of roles. You know, George Lopez is in here as well. Just, you know,
holy shit!
Yeah, you're looking at his tattoo.
Yo, what Yakuza gang is he from, dog? Holy shit, bro.
And to be fair on Ben Affleck's end, he was going through a very hard time when he got that tattoo as well. So, you know, it is what it is.
A Phoenix? Oh, poor guy. He does not look like he aged well right here.
No, that was during his very bad rehab time. Yeah. But yeah, man, Tax Collector looks great. Yeah, but you should peep that trailer, Adam, when you have the chance to.
Oh, definitely, dude. I'm putting it on here. Just check it out later.
I saw this. I didn't really look too much into it. But I guess everybody wants to adapt Junji Ito work as of late, right? We have the 2 anime adaptions in the past few years. And now it looks like we're going to have Tomei adapted into a live-action movie.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, so it's getting a live-action movie. David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, that's a name. He's going to be writing it, and he wrote...
Oh, he did The Conjuring 2 and Aquaman.
Yeah, so that has hope for it, because I haven't seen the second Conjuring, but I know I watched the first one, and that was really good.
I mean, and I you can agree or disagree with me, Danny. I kind of like the writing in Aquaman.
Oh, I think Aquaman is a great film.
I mean, this already gives me hope. I haven't seen The Conjuring 2, but I mean, if you're gonna go from horror to a comic and then go from, going into this with Junji Ito thing, you're already like meshing in the best of both worlds with your experience that people are noting. I have pretty high hopes already for this.
Oh, so this is gonna be coming out on Quibi. Oh,
Quibi.
You guys know what that is?
That's not good. Yeah, that's not like the 5-minute shows, right?
Quibi is a streaming service, but if I'm correct, it's only on phones.
So is it kind of like
It's meant for episodes on the go.
Yeah,
that kind of sounds like there's just
like
one.
If you're on the bus or some shit,
right.
Just like
yeah.
There's a few shows that were on there that like were slated to be on there but never showed up because of this whole.
Yeah, and I know Quibi has not been doing well at all. Yeah.
This might bring it back, dude. I mean, everybody loves Junji Ito.
It might, but this came. That's why it's like it came out at like a really bad time when everybody had to like stay inside and not go anywhere.
Yeah, this is for like your quick break from work. You're on the bus, on the plane, something like that, right? Excuse me. So they just got the green light for it, so that means they'll start production hopefully whenever they get the okay out here, right? Because certain areas they're just not ready for filming. But let's hope Quibi's still around by the time they start filming that, because if nobody else picks it up, then it's just going to be lost. So that's always unfortunate.
It might be really bad. It might be really good.
Yeah, you never know with these adaptations, man. Just like over here on Amazon, they said, "Hey, man, let's get those Westworld guys and let's make a Fallout series."
A Fallout series.
Yeah, I never played the Fallout games, but it's that post-apocalyptic stuff that's cool. So they're going to be doing a live action series. I heard one Todd is going to be overseeing that show. So that's all I have to say about Fallout. I mean, so guys, people are upset at EA as usual. There was the announcement for 2K21 to come out, right? And this is the first NBA game since the sad passing of Kobe. And everybody was like, yeah, he has to be on the cover of the game. It has to be Kobe focused. And then I saw the cover and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Damn. No, dude, don't tell me that, man. Don't tell me that, dude.
Right? And that's not even the worst part, right?
He's not in the game.
No, he'll be in the game, of course. But
thank God.
Everybody is even more upset now because there is going to be a Mamba Forever edition of the game. And then that's where you could get the cover with Kobe Bryant on it, It's like it's Kobe heavy. And I was like, okay, cool. But it's a deluxe edition, right? So that means it's going to be like $100+ and everybody's really upset. It's like, yeah, why they're just charging extra just for something that should already be there by default,
Corporate America strikes again, man. That's all I got to say about that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it really sucks, man, to see that happen. Because I was like, oh, I would like to cop that if it had Kobe on it, but not for this. This is just ridiculous, man. But with this news, though, of 2K21 coming out, we actually got to look at what's coming next gen, right? Because this is going to be on PS5 and Series X as well. And the price for this game is $70 default. So if that's safe to assume that next gen, yeah, we're getting that price increase.
It's going to come up, dude. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's only $10, which I'm like, it's probably fine. Right, because it's been $60 since the past 2 gens at least. No, I think you got to remember these are AAA games, and with next gen, they're definitely going to be even bigger. I mean, both like how many gigs they are, and just graphically as well. So, and then I was talking to Jake about this on Marvel Talk. I'm like, I wonder what this means for Miles Morales, because that's a standalone game, so it's not going to be the full AAA price. Right, and that would mean $40 right now, but what is that? Is that going to mean $50 next gen?
I could see that.
So yeah, we'll just see. We'll see when that drops this year.
It's logical, but we'll see.
So over on the Twitter, our favorite game director, right, Mr. Harada over at Bandai for Tekken, he dropped some screenshots of Tekken like a few days ago. Just some wacky stuff that the characters are doing, and people noticed in one of the screenshots, the background stage is not in the game right now. This looks like a new stage coming out. And it looks like one of the convenience stores in Japan, like one of the like popular ones, like a 7-Eleven type of deal. And what game has those? It's the Yakuza series. So people are thinking maybe we're finally going to get Kiryu in Tekken 7. He might be the mysterious 50th character that was shown off on the website. So I really hope so, man. That would be amazing. Yeah, Devolver Digital had a presentation, all their E3 stuff that they would have done. Everyone else is just doing their own streams, which is cool. They showed off a few games. The only one to take a note was we're getting a Shadow Warrior 3. Grant played those and he had a good time, so that's cool that they're making a third one. Ubisoft had one today. Showed off a bunch of stuff. Stuff I'm like, who cares? But something to note was, dude, Far Cry 6, they had a full-length teaser trailer for that. And it has the boy Gus from Breaking Bad. And I gotta say, man, this trailer, it got me hyped, actually. I was like, I might actually cop this Far Cry game. And that's coming out February next year. And we got gameplay for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That looks, it looks cool. I haven't played Odyssey or Origins, but it looks like it's the same gameplay. So that's what to expect. But yeah, it looks fun. Adam, you said there's a Nintendo Direct that happened recently, right?
Yes, so it was primarily specialized on Paper Mario. That was the Nintendo Treehouse for it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've always been a big Paper Mario fan. When I played the one for the Wii, I think it was Color Splash, I think that might have been the sticker one, or maybe it was a different one. I checked out, dude. The writing was just so bad. Like the concept was very interesting, but it didn't feel like Paper Mario to me anymore. And I had really high hopes for how this new one was going to come out, Origami King. And when I saw the gameplay, I was like, okay, this looks a lot of fun. It's got some elements of Thousand Year Door. It looks really, really interesting. And then I got to the battle mechanics, and I'm like, okay, this is really, really cool. There is no EXP, which is always a strange thing to do, but it actually works out in its own way because the coins that you get, you can use inside the battle mechanics, which is totally different from what they've done before. But the writing, again, it feels like they're trying too hard to do something. And then my biggest gripe of all, like at this point, if you have good battle mechanics, I'll get past the bad writing. But your bosses, okay? I don't think I mentioned this before, but there was some screenshots from Nintendo when the game was announced a few weeks after that. They were like, hey, here are some bosses. And it's like, cool, I get to fight a 12 pencil coloring case. Ooh, so scary. I get to fight a tape dispenser. Ooh, I'm shivering me timbers, dude. Like, God forbid I ever fight a tape dispenser in real life. And then a rubber band ball. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, this is so bad. And I think Julian said in our group chat, he's like, Crayola is the final boss. I'm like, at this point, dude, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I do know that there are some actually legit, boss battle designs in here. There's like a water dragon. There's like an earth dragon that comes out in here that actually looks really, really cool. But to me, it's like, why wouldn't you put those as the forefront in these releases, as opposed to, I have to fight a pencil case? Ooh, But overall, it does look like a very fun game, despite my gripes with it. The battle mechanics, again, are really, really interesting. It's something totally different that they have never done before for a Paper Mario game. There's a time limit that goes down once you initiate battle to kind of like get everything together. I do have some hopes for it. I probably won't cop it day one like I intended to. I'll probably wait a little bit, just kind of see what everyone else feels around for it. But yeah, and then it ended off with Paper Mario, like, oh hey, I have the Metroid helmet on, Samus's helmet, and I'm like, cool, we're gonna see a Metroid game because they announced, hey, we're gonna have a new game announcement. And I'm like, dude, if you bring out Metroid, your Switch sales are already up the house, with Animal Crossing. Like, bring in a new Metroid game, that's it, that's game over. No, what did we get? And I have no problems with this series at all. I think it's a pretty interesting series because I am a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, as we all are. But they're coming out with a new Bakugan game. And let me tell you, the last Digimon game I played was Cyber Sleuth a couple years ago, the first one.
Yeah.
And it looks like a copy and paste.
Oh.
I'm not even. It literally looks like a copy and paste. I don't think Way Forward had made the Digimon games, the Cyber Sleuth ones. I did really enjoy them, but it literally looks like a copy and paste until you get into the battle schematics. Like the battle mechanics are pretty interesting. You have to find different grids in the stage. So you have your Bakugan out there battling the other Bakugan, and your character is running around the battlefield trying to find little like panels, and you throw it over to your Bakugan to increase this bar for your specials essentially. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but it literally is just a copy and paste of Cyber Sleuth, and I checked out. You know, I watched it for maybe about 10 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, if this is what your game has to offer, I'm okay, dude. I'll just go play Digimon, where I actually really enjoy what's going on. Like, I enjoy the
Exactly.
Digimon. You know, like I'm not gonna go into a totally new series and be like, oh, cool, this is like Digimon. No, I'm not gonna do it. I think the game will do well for its fans. Personally, I probably won't buy it. But yeah, so that was the Nintendo Treehouse that we had, I think, last week. It was just a lot of Paper Mario, Origami King, and then ending off with Bakugan, which I believe comes out in November of this year. And then we have Paper Mario that comes out this Friday.
Yes. Yeah, alongside Ghost of Tsushima. While we're talking about the Switch, I don't know if you guys remember a while back, I brought up that there is a new Zoids game over on the Switch that's in Japan already.
No way.
Yeah, and we got some news a while back, like a few days ago, that it's going to be coming out here in the West, Zoids Wild Blast, and that's going to be dropping in October.
That's an instant cop, dude. Come on.
Yeah, and I saw the characters, and I'm like, oh, I think this is based off like the latest anime for Zoids.
Dude, you can't go wrong with Zoids. It's a classic.
Yeah. Yeah, at least it's a full game this time, so that's cool, man. I'm going to check out some gameplay for that later, and yeah, I'll probably cop it. I think it said $40 it's going to be, so that's not a bad price. So I've been playing some games here since I beat Neo 2. I'm playing this one here and there. It's Oni-Chanbara Z2 Chaos. I copped this when it was on sale. I was like, oh, what kind of game is this? And it's an action game, very Devil May Cry inspired. It's a little more floaty than Devil May Cry. It tries its best. The lock-on system's just not the best. You could really fly all over the place when you're not really trying. But, oh man, this game, I'm like, oh, that's why this is rated M. Okay, I got you, man, because just anime titties all over the place, man.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, so apparently this game is based off, like, this. There's actually an actual series for this game. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. It's, very similar to other games like Lollipop Chainsaw. This game, I think its charm is definitely the voice acting. It's in English, and oh man, it's something else, man. It has like that early 2000s vibes of English voice acting. You could say it's cringe. You could say it's just like, what are we doing here? There's just some moments where I guess you could say the main character, the one on the cover, every now and then she'll just start talking in Japanese. She'll just have like one-liners in Japanese, and I'm like, but you're speaking English most of the time,
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's a cutscene before Mission 7. I was like, oh, this is totally in mine and Julian's lane when it comes to this, because it's like that Senran Kagura energy where I'm like, that's her bathing suit? Like, Jesus Christ, man. But then she'll say, like, they're on the intercoms, and then she's just like, oh, chotomate, whatever else she says. And I was like, what are we doing, guys?
Oh, Jesus.
That's that good.
But it has some cool stuff to it. So there's 4 playable characters, right? And from what I got in the lore is that there's 2 clans, right? There's a vampire clan, and then there's the human clan that, hunts vampires or fights them. So there's 2 pairs of sisters from each clan, and they're teaming up here with this agency, and, they're over here just fighting demons and all, and like zombies, all that. And what's cool is they all have like 2 weapons each. Some of them have the same weapons, but their gameplay is a little different, so that's pretty cool. But what's interesting is you just tap up or down on the D-pad, and you could just scroll through the characters as you're playing. So you could do some pretty nice combos by doing that. Easy to switch to other weapons as well, so you can have a lot of stuff going on at the same time, which is it could get pretty fun when you can fight the hordes when you can. Because I think the main problem is there's just like stragglers like towards the edges of the map, and you're just like, how is this mission not over? Oh, there's that one guy all the way over there. It's like, oh Jesus. The boss fights are so-so. A cool thing it has is your weapons do get caught up with blood, and you have to wash them off, or else like your attacks get duller. so you don't do as much damage. So like, okay, that's a nice thing to pay attention to. And another thing that got me on this game was the vampire girls got transformations. And the main chick, when she got her transformation, it looks like something out of the Witchblade anime. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude, this game knows who I am, bro. There's just so many systems. It's like, oh, there's the blood gauge, ecstasy gauge. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, this is a interesting time. So I'm just playing that every now and then while I play the main game I'm doing, which is the Star Wars Fallen Order game from EA. I bought this a while ago, and I was like, I'm just going to wait because I heard that the game played pretty bad. A lot of bugs and all that. And I hopped on, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they fixed it all, right? Because I remember there was updates and buddy, let me tell you, man, there's still a lot of bugs in this game. I walked into one room and then the character started getting hit. I'm like, what's going on? And then it lagged and then the enemy spawned in. I was like, oh, this is bad. It froze on me a few times and I was like, oh boy, yeah. But other than that, I think the gameplay's fine. It's Souls-like, there's no stamina, but there is a guard stamina. So if that breaks, then you get stunned. So I was like, okay, cool. It really does kind of feel like you're using a lightsaber, right? Because the generic enemies will go down in one hit. And then, as you get to the higher tier, they take a few more hits. Using the Force is cool. The only thing is I'm like, man, this feels like an old gen game. Like, this feels like this came out on PS3. There's a lot of puzzle solving. There's a lot of you having to climb up walls, and then jump across ledges and all that. I'm like, am I playing the Tomb Raider reboot? Because that's what this feels like.
Damn, you said Tomb Raider reboot.
Yeah, because, that was very apparent in those games. I think the story's fine. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here that I think is pretty cool. The photo mode I've been using here and there. That's pretty good too. So I'm going through that, and hopefully it doesn't freeze every time I hop in an elevator, man. Because my only gripe with the game is because it's Souls-like. You have like a limited amount of health items. Usually you'll pick some up along the way. In this game, you don't pick any up until you get to the next save point. So that had me worrying because I was literally like pixel healthing it for a good while until I got to the next save point. I'm like, come on, man. And then there's certain parts where you just can't go back, right, until you find the shortcut later down on the level. One cool thing about the game, though, is you can go to a save point. It's not going to respawn enemies automatically. It'll only do that if you rest, right? So to get your health items and you heal. But you could just hop in there to either save or to just unlock a new skill. So I thought that was cool. That's a nice little different take on there. But yeah, I tried streaming that just, off the default PS4 streaming, and it crashed both times I tried it. So I'm just going to hold off on that. Yeah, so that's just what I've been doing. Yeah, new BFM will be coming soon. Sandler episode. Did you catch up to One Piece, Adam?
Oh, dude, great chapter. 100%, dude. Like, okay, so I had taken my break from One Piece like I usually do, because I always like to see it in 2 or 3 chapters at a time because it always takes so many breaks. Dude, whoo, boy, that was a great chapter. Wano has now become my favorite arc so far. For a while, it was Dressrosa and Water 7, but Wano is, just the start of Wano to where we are at now. If you're not reading One Piece or watching One Piece, highly recommend.
Yeah, man, with this new chapter, it made me thinking, I wonder if we're going to get another flashback arc in the series while we're still in the Wano section. And then, a lot of buzz with the new character that showed up, Yamato, specifically about, just some stuff. I don't want to get into it on the show. But
right. No, I could definitely see, a little bit of a flashback just to kind of make sense of what's going on in the scene. But overall, again, if you're not reading One Piece right now, if you're not caught up, this is the best time to catch up. It really is. Yeah, lots of big players, lots of great stuff about to happen.
Attack on Titan's latest chapter came out, and I read that. It was great, man. It was what I wanted the past few chapters. The past few chapters have been setting up this big final moment for the series. And then with this one, we got some info, some flashback stuff pertaining to important characters right now, and I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I needed. It expands the lore even more of why everyone's doing what they're doing. It's good stuff, man. I think if you guys want to give another chance, man, I think it is worth it.
I know I'll give it another chance, but
sooner or later, bro.
I'll get to it eventually. Once I finish my Star Trek adventure, dude, I'm going to be playing catch up on a lot of things because Star Trek has been taking so much out of my time, like just catching up. I did finish Voyager. I finished Picard. I'm halfway through Enterprise. Once I finish that, then I just have to do Discovery, which I think is like 2 seasons, and then I'm all caught up and I can go back into everything else.
Attack on Titan's an interesting one because it starts off pretty good, right? It's rising up, and then it falls and plateaus pretty hard during the coup arc, and you're just gonna have to like, bite the tongue and just go through that until it starts to get great again, and then it still stays good after that.
See, that's where I stopped. Was in the coup arc. I was like, after plateauing for some, I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm checking out, dude. I will come back when I know that there's something good in here to bite through it with. And if you're telling me that it gets better at the end of the day, then I might just wait till it finishes. But I'm committed to giving it one more shot.
Yeah, I think it's gonna finish soon, I believe. So you could just wait probably like the end of the year. We should be seeing it end. Yeah, I'll come back, let you guys know how the ending was. But honestly, I think once there's the moment everybody was waiting for in the series, and then from there we got a flashback story, and then just that moment forward, it got a lot better. And dude, other manga talking here is got to bring up My Hero, dude. The last chapter that came out, I think it was last week's chapter. Man, this honestly
phenomenal.
It was really good, and it makes me think this might be the final arc of My Hero. I need
to catch up.
Yeah, it honestly really depends how they're gonna handle, because what they're gonna do here. Because I think this is it. I think when it comes to Deku and who he has to fight, like there's really nobody after this. And
nah, bro, they still showed off who was really in One for All.
All for One.
So like, there's All for whatever. No, like the his power that he has, it's All for One.
I think it's All for One.
Yeah. Okay. So like, yeah, there's still like different people inside All for One. It's like there's still a lot of like mystery behind that, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. There's you could tell like he wants to explore more into that, right? After that arc that happened, but. Yeah, I think it just really depends how they're going to handle the back half of this arc, I guess. Knowing Jump, I don't think they want My Hero to end right now, because since Haikyuu's ending, that'll be another big hitter. And I was looking at the weekly, like what's out right now in Jump, and yeah, there's really not a lot of big action hitters right now. I mean, there's Chainsaw Man, which I've heard great things about, and Jujutsu Kaisen, I guess, is also there. But
hey, dude, Jujutsu Kaisen, when I started that thing, dude, really good.
Yeah, I remember always seeing it pop up, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually. And then I heard it's getting an anime, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is on the list, so I'll get to it eventually. God, I wish there was a new One Piece this week.
Is it on break?
Yeah,
it is on break. Son of a... God damn it.
I know.
I know, dude.
Oh, you know what I found out about God High School as well is there was an interview with the author on Crunchyroll when the anime dropped, and this started around the same time as Tower. It's 10 years old. I didn't realize that, but I guess it makes sense because there's the same amount of chapter numbers for both series.
That does make sense.
And also, what really makes sense is one of his inspirations, which you'll probably find out later when you keep reading, is one of his big inspirations was fighting games.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, man. I got massive Tekken vibes in the first few chapters.
Oh, yeah. I recommend listening to the opening for the anime. It's just straight up Tekken music. It's so good.
Hell yeah.
It definitely does. Like there's one aspect in God of High School where I was like, oh yeah, this is a video game now. That's what we're watching. So again, yeah, hopefully that'll start this week, and then we'll go every other week from there. We'll keep you updated on the social media at Unversed Podcast. And as usual, every Wednesday there will be a manga review. I messed up this past week, so there was 2 episodes out, which is fine because I still got a good backlog here. But yeah, so there's that out there. Marvel Talks out. BFM coming soon. You can catch us streaming. That's all for us today, guys. So thanks for swinging by as always. I'm going to keep dishing out that content. Again, you can email us at unversedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to talk about it on the next episode. So thanks, guys, and we'll catch you next time.